Namaste. This is Aprameya here, working as a lecturer in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Sri Jayachamarajendra's Government Polytechnic. Today, I am going to welcome you for session 2 of Unit 2, that is Introduction to Projections. As we discussed earlier in the session 1, for our course Computer Aided Engineering Drawing, with a course code 20ME12P. This projection, the introduction to projection unit 2 is another important learning aspects in order to produce quality engineering drawing. So today I once again welcome you for the session 2, and the topics that we are going to learn from the session 2 are introduction to first angle of projection and third angle of projection methods and their symbols. And at the end of today's session 2, the students are expected to learn about the concept of four quadrants and the basics of first angle and third angle projection, and what are all the symbols used to indicate the first angle projection and third angle projection. Welcome you all for session 2. Yes, in Unit 2, in previous session, that is session 1, we understood the concept of introduction to projections, principal planes of projection and principal views. Yes, and today in the session 2, we are going to learn about introduction to first angle projection and third angle projection methods. What are all the four different quadrants and their symbols? Contents of session 2, unit 2. In this session, we are going to understand what is meant by quadrant system with respect to engineering drawing, and we are again learning about basics of projection systems with first angle of projection system and third angle of projection system, and differences between, at the end we are going to learn what is the differences between first angle projection and third angle of projection systems. Yes, so before directly jumping into the four quadrant systems, I just want to recall the learnings in the session 1. In session 1, we understood the projection plane and the observer will be there on the either side of the object, or other way I can say object will be placed in between the observer and the projection plane. And this projection plane or principal plane, what we call, is an imaginary plane. And what is the projection we are going to get on this projection plane? What is the projection of the object we are going to get on this projection plane will be transferred to the engineering drawing sheet to make the engineering drawing. So in there we have three important planes, that is frontal plane, horizontal plane and side view plane. Yes, so we'll capture the front view of an object in the frontal plane, and the top view of the object is captured on the horizontal plane, and in the side planes, or we can capture the right hand side view or the left hand side view. Now we are coming back to the quadrant systems. What do you mean by quadrant system? Just observe, before jumping into the definition, we'll observe the image, that is figure 2.2. You can see the four quadrants. You can see in this figure it is very clearly noted that we have frontal plane and the horizontal plane, and there are four quadrants starting from first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. Yes, so we have left profile plane and we have right profile plane. Can you relate this quadrant to the planes what we discussed in session 1? Yes, it is similar to the frontal plane, the horizontal plane and profile planes, that is right and side profile plane. It is similar to the projection planes what we discussed in session 1. Now we'll understand what is the meaning of 4 quadrants with respect to engineering drawing. When the planes of projection are extended beyond their line of intersection, this word is very important. I am repeating it once again. When the planes of projection are extended beyond their line of intersection, they form the 4 quadrants. So these 4 quadrants are not formed in a different way or a new way. We are just extending the projections beyond their line of intersection. What does that mean? Okay, see here in this frontal plane you have, right? For in session 1 we understood there is only frontal plane. Now I am extending this frontal plane to the bottom side, and we understood what is horizontal plane, and we are now extending this horizontal plane to the other side, that is intersection of the frontal plane and the intersection of the horizontal plane. We are extending the horizontal plane and frontal plane, and by extending this line of intersection we will get this 4 quadrant, and they are named as first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant, and they are named in anti-clockwise direction when rotated about the reference line xy as shown in the figure 2.2. The learning from this slide is the quadrant system is not a new thing. What we did is we understood the different planes, that is frontal plane, horizontal plane and profile plane. Now we are just extending the horizontal plane, we are just extending the vertical plane, and by extending the vertical plane and horizontal plane at their intersection, we got 4 quadrants, and we are naming it in the anti-clockwise direction as first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. This is in this slide I just want to give you the explanation or a pictorial view how the different quadrants will look from the observer point of view. See here we have observer and he is looking it into the first quadrant, right? This is second quadrant, this is third quadrant and this is fourth quadrant. It is looking like in a room we are bisected the room with 2 walls, that is one horizontal wall and the vertical wall, right? That is what the definition of 4 quadrants. We are extending the lines of intersection. So we are extending the lines of intersection to form the quadrant system. Now with respect to the projection systems, to prepare an orthographic drawing, the object is to be placed in any one of the quadrant. Now we'll come to the very fundamental aspects of projection system. We understood in order to create 3 principal waves, we need 3 profile planes, that is horizontal plane, vertical plane and right side plane. Okay, we can say right profile plane or left profile plane. Now what we are defining is to prepare an object orthographic drawing, the object of which we are going to create the orthographic views has to be placed in any one of the quadrant. ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇದೆ, ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಟರ್ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ 4 ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ 1 2 3 4 ಅಂತ. ನೌ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಥೋಗ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ವ್ಯೂಸ್, it is mandatory to put the object of our interest to which we are drawing the engineering drawing with the orthographic views. We have to place that object in any one of the quadrant system. Either you have to place it in the first quadrant, second quadrant, place it in the third quadrant or place it in the fourth quadrant in order to get what? In ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, the point of interest is the 3 views or at least the 2 views. What view? Front view and top view. At least I need 2 views to get the maximum information regarding the size and shape of the object. So we learned there is a quadrant system that is made up of extending the intersection of vertical plane and horizontal plane. And second important point, to get the orthographic views. What are all the orthographic views or orthographic drawing? front view, top view and side view. At least you have to put that object of interest, any object of which we are creating the orthographic views, we have to put it in either of the four quadrants. You have to use either of the four quadrants in order to get the ಆರ್ಥೋಗ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ ಆರ್ಥೋಗ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ವ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ, ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಆರ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಆರ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ. ಇದನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು 4 ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವಲ್ವಾ, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಥೋಗ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್. ಸರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಇಡೋದು? ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಎ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್? ನೋ, ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು in detailing of the projection system in further slides. Now we'll understand. Here you can see in this figure, that is 2.4 projection system, you can easily observe we have horizontal plane, vertical plane and the intersection is extended. So we got first angle, second angle, third angle, fourth angle and we have profile plane also. I am giving another view of this quadrant system also, how it will look. And then in this way the following four systems are formed as first quadrant, first angle as projection system, second angle system, third angle system and fourth angle system of projection. So we have four different kinds of projection angle systems. Now very important is first angle of projection system. I am repeating this word, it is a very important. Kindly give your attention and concentration on this slide, because what you are learning is very important from the point of your engineering life in future. Okay, I am explaining what is the definition and what is how the first angle projection system will going to benefit us. So now we'll learn what is first angle projection system. So in the image you can see we have vertical plane, horizontal plane, and in between the vertical plane and observer we have the object, and front view is above the xy line and top view is below the front view or below the xy line. Now we'll understand what is the first angle projection system. The views of an object is in between observer and the plane of projection. So we have vertical plane here, we have the observer here. Just imagine we have one vertical plane and we are observing from this end. The object is there in between, the vertical plane of projection and the observer. Should be taken by placing in the first quadrant. Now in the first quadrant what we are going to do is we are going to put that object in the first quadrant. So ultimately the product or the object will be in between the plane and the observer. By taking the front view on the vertical plane, so here is the object, here I am observing it, I am taking the front view on the vertical plane and top view on the horizontal plane. When you see from the top, I am putting that view on, projecting that view on the horizontal plane, and side view on the profile plane. So the side view can be viewed by the profile plane, we can call it as PP. According to the rule of orthographic projection, to draw the projection view of a 3D object on 2D plane, the horizontal plane is rotated 90 degree in clockwise direction. So this is again new concept, I am repeating it again, kindly give your concentration. According to the rule of orthographic projection rule prakara, to draw the projection view of a 3D object ಅಂದ್ರೆ thickness ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ 3D object 2D plane ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, we are drawing it. The horizontal plane is rotated 90 degree. So ಈ ತರ ಇದೆ, ಇದು vertical plane, ಇದು horizontal plane. So horizontal plane ಅನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, we are rotating it to the 90 degree in a clockwise direction. You can see here we are rotating it in the clockwise direction. So vertical plane ಇದೇ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, horizontal plane ಈ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ horizontal, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು rotate ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. I am rotating how much degree? 90 degree, that too as the clockwise direction. In this way the front view comes on the top side and top view comes on the bottom side. That is, the front view will be always on the top of the top view. And this is the basics of first angle of projection system. Now we'll understand what are all the characteristics of the first angle projection. So as you can see, the front view, see in this figure, the front view which is there at the center is always comes over the top view. Top view in a ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ front view ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Top view always comes under the front view. ಇದು ಉಲ್ಟಾ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ತದ್ವಿರುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. The top view always comes ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ. ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ವಿನ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ನ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ದಿ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ. ಸೊ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಚ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ. ಸೊ ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಇದರ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ to the right side of the front view. The view is always in opposite direction to the observer. So observer ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ the view is always in opposite direction to the observer. Object is always placed in between the observer and the plane of projection. So object is the plane. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದಿ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವರ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅನದರ್ ಟೈಪ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ಸರ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅನುಮಾನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ನೋ, ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ third angle projection. Believe me, throughout the world these two systems will be used extensively, as I have worked in industry also. There also they will use either first angle of projection or third angle of projection. Now we'll understand what is third angle of projection. Now very simple, what is third angle projection is, we have three things. Whenever you will talk with respect to orthographic views, now you always imagine three things. One is plane, one is object, one is observer. Now I am taking this object and placing it in the third quadrant to get what? Orthographic views. These four quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4 are formed to get the orthographic views. Now third angle of projection system ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಥರ್ಡ್ angle of projection ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Now you understand what is the features of the third angle projection system. If the views of an object, plane of the projection is in between the observer and the object and are taken by placing it in the third quadrant, such a system is called third angle projection. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, the plane of the projection is in between the observer and object. So first angle ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ plane ಇತ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ object ಇತ್ತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ observer ಇದ್ರು. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ this is first angle. 1, 2 second angle of projection. ಇಲ್ಲಿ third ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ. ಸೊ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಮೂವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ದಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್, ದ ಪ್ಲೇನ್, ಈ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ at the line of intersection, this plane will come in between what? Here we have observer, here we have object. Imagine the object in the third quadrant ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವರ್ will see the plane first, then he will see the object. Or another way I can say that the plane is there in between the object, ಇಲ್ಲಿ object ಇದೆ, and the observer. Here the front view forms on the frontal plane. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. We don't have anything here behind the object. So the front view is always projected on the frontal plane and top view forms on the horizontal plane. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಏನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ we don't have horizontal plane. On the top of the object we have horizontal plane. So the top view is projected on the top side. The top view is projected on the top side. So the side views from the profile plane. So any one of the profile plane can be used for the side views. In this way, the top view comes over the front view. Very important point. Top view comes over the front view. So I will just show you. Okay, ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಹಿಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇತ್ತು, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಇದು ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್, ಇದು ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇತ್ತು. ನೌ ಐ ರಿಮೂವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಕೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ತರ ಇದೆ ನನಗೆ, ಸೊ ಇದು ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನು, ಇದು ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ಅಥವಾ ಈ ತರ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಇದು ಹಾರಿಜಾಂಟಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ವರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನನಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವರ್ ನ ನಡುವೆ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ is projected on the horizontal plane which will be rotated 90 degree in order to place, in order to draw the 3D views of the 2D object. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ and front view will be drawn on the vertical plane. So this is the major difference between the first angle and third angle projection, and we'll understand what is the characteristics of the third angle system. Here you can see the first characteristics of a third angle projection is top view always comes over the front view. So front view ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, but the top view is always on the top of the front view. Front view always come under the top view. Front view ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ನ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಉಲ್ಟಾ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ is always comes to the right hand side. Left side view is always comes on the left hand side of the front view. The view is always formed to the side of the observer, and the plane of projection is in between the object and the observer. The plane of projection is there in between the object and the observer. Now we'll understand what are all the differences between the first angle of projection and third angle of projection system. I think it is a very important interview question for any design related companies. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ನೀವು ನಾಳೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಮೇಲೆ if you want to get placed in design based companies, the first interview question will be what is the difference between first angle and third angle projection. The first difference is the object is imagined to be in first quadrant. So we have 4 quadrants ಈ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು 1, ಇದು 2, ಇದು 3, 4. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಾಡ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಥರ್ಡ್ quadrant ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. The second difference is the object is lies between the observer and the plane of projection. So object is lies between the plane of projection and observer, but in case of third angle projection ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the plane of projection lies between the object and the observer. The plane of the projection is assumed to be non-transparent, but in case of third angle, the plane of projection is assumed to be transparent. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ assumed to be transparent? Just imagine the object in the third quadrant. So object ಗೂ ಮತ್ತು observer ನಡುವೆ projection plane ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. If it is not transparent, if you are not assuming it as a transparent, how an observer can see the object which is there another side or the behind of this projection plane? So we have to assume this projection plane as transparent. Okay, when we are drawn in their relative position, top view comes below the front view and right hand side view drawn to the left hand of the elevation. Okay, when the view are drawn in their relative position, the top view comes above the front view. So first angle of projection alli top view front view na ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟಾಪ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವ್ಯೂ ನ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ಸ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದಿ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ಸ್, there is a difference. In first angle of projection only this conical shaped image will come on the left side, followed by these two encircled circles, and this here in third angle projection this will shift to the right hand side. This will come to the right hand side. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ನೆನಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, so that you can write opposite to the first one. Now this is the last slide. Here I am going to give you the more detailing or more understanding about this first angle projection and third angle of projection system with a example. Here you can see we have 4 quadrants. In this corner image ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. This corner image which is very small, we have 4 quadrants. ಇದು first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. This is the same object. In the first, what we are going to place is we are placing the object in the first quadrant. First quadrant ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, you can see here it is a vertical plane, this is the horizontal plane, and this is the profile plane, and observer is looking from this end. Okay, or observer is looking from this end. Whatever side he is looking, he will get what he will get directly. You can see the object, or I can say object is there in between the observer and the plane. Yes, and here you can understand in case of third angle projection, you can see the observer is there and the angle projection plane is there in between the observer and our product or the item or the product of which we have to do the drawing. So the basic difference I think you understood. Here you can see in the first angle system, so this is the front side view, this is the front view. I already told you, in case of first angle system, the front view is always on the top side of the top view, and you will get the right side views on the left side, and the left side view on the right profile plane. But in case of third angle projection system, here you can clearly observe that, as we know, the plane will come in between the object and the observer. The top view is always on the top of the front view, and you will get the right side and the left side profile view which is on the right side or on the left side of the front view. So dear students, this is all about the basics of first angle projection, the projection systems, and the quadrant systems, and we understood what is the basics of first angle projection and the third angle projection. At the end, we understood what are all the differences between the first angle projection and third angle projection, and we again discussed this same topic with a small example. Now remember very two important points with respect to this session, that is, we have four quadrants. In order to get the orthographic view of the any object, we have to put that object in either of the four quadrants. But generally we'll use first angle projection and third angle projection. In first angle projection, object will come in between the observer and the plane. In third angle projection, the plane will be in between the object and the observer. And here the very important difference is, in first angle of projection we are getting front view on the top and top view on the bottom of the front view. But in case of third angle projection, we will get the top view on the top of the front view, and front view will come bottom side of the top view. And again I am telling, in case of first angle projection, we are not assuming that the plane is transparent, but in case of third angle projection, we are going to assume that the plane which is there in between the object and observer is assumed to be transparent. And I am telling you, give your concentration to understand this angle system, that is first angle projection and third angle projection, because as per your knowledge and as per the industry, what they are looking is the students who are understanding the basics of engineering drawing, and the angle of system, that is third angle projection and first angle projection, are very important. It's a very vital important I can say very important point of engineering graphics, and in order to draw the orthographic views, this is the base. So by having said this, I just want to say thank you for attending my session 2 on angle of projection or the quadrant system. Thank you very much.